Hey everybody, it's Bob. Welcome back to Let's Talk. Today, I want to talk about the universe, believe it or not. Come on, let's go. Hey everybody, welcome back to the podcast. Today, we're going to talk about the universe. I'll tell you why in a minute. Hey, Katie, how are you today?
I'm doing great.
Um, I started thinking about this the other day. I fly a lot. I know you know that. Like, I had 1,000,000 miles on a major airline the other year. And I have a very set way of doing things. I get on the plane, I put my bag wherever, I sit in my seat, I put my ear things in, I listen to music, and I just want to be left alone.
Mhm.
Not that I'm not a nice, friendly, happy go lucky guy. And so if you ever see me out there, please come up and say hi. But my point is, I have a certain way of doing things. And I literally the other day did all that.
Mhm.
And then,
Oh, no.
this guy sits down next to me, and you'll get where I want to talk about the universe because I started thinking about this. This guy just comes up and he sits down. Everybody been on a million planes,
Yeah, yeah.
and I don't care if you're flying first class, it doesn't matter. Uh, it's like a bus nowadays, right? It's like an old time bus. Like you're just throwing 200 people on this plane and you're trying to get them to wherever. And this guy sits down, and from the minute he hits the seat, he starts talking to me.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if I'm the most approachable guy if you haven't met me, but my point is, I'm not going out of my way to be rude. So I answer him. And then, he's for some reason, he starts talking about everything you don't want to talk about with somebody.
Mm.
He talks about politics, he talks about religion, he talks about, how they don't have the right kind of drinks on the plane. And, 15 minutes into this, and, now we're taxiing, getting ready to, I'm on a 3-hour flight with this dude.
Oh my
Like,
god, it sounds like it has unlimited opinions.
well, this is the thing I'm trying to get at with this, and you're actually getting to it quicker than I am. But the reality is, I am so sick and tired of everybody. And I see this on the news. I see it in different media outlets. I see this, everywhere. Everybody thinks they know everything about everything,
Oh, yes.
and they're very opinionated, and they just won't stop. And it's almost to the point where I'm ready to boycott all the news organizations because if you watch one organization, it's skewed way left. If you watch the other, it's skewed right. No one's talking about news. They're just pontificating about way right, way left. Somebody says something they don't like, meeting the news guy or gal, they just go off on them. Well, this guy is sort of that guy. So literally in the middle of him talking, we talk, it's nighttime, right? And so we take off, we're climbing out, and I still got my ear things in. He still keeps, and he's on his third gin and tonic or whatever. And make a long story short, I'm just staring out the window. It's a
Mhm.
beautiful night, and I'm looking at all the stars and how pretty they are and how many they are. And then I'm like, how did I get here? In all of that, right? I'm looking at this beautiful thing. And by the way, I'll talk about this because I didn't know any of this shit. I had to go look it up. But I'm looking at all these stars. And it's so pretty. And I'm thinking, how big is what we're part of, right? The universe. Like, how big is this? And how am I sitting next to this jackass on this airplane right now? And I
Mhm.
can't get away from this guy.
Mhm.
And so part of why I brought up about the universe stuff, and I want to talk about it a little bit today, because I'm sure other people feel this way and they just don't want to talk about it, or now maybe they will because I'm talking about it, is I'm just fed up with people that think they know everything about everything. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
I just don't get it. Like, why did we get to a society that everybody thinks that everything comes out of their mouth is gospel?
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Everybody has an opinion and everybody has to share it with you too. If I am sitting in the dentist chair and I can't even say anything in response, but I'm just listening to it.
I just don't get it. And so, I did this little thing, to save myself from, probably committing suicide on this airplane because I was just so fed up with this guy. And by the way, he talked the entire 3 hours. Didn't matter if I was looking out the window or not looking out the window. He asked me any questions. But then, I started looking up. I got my computer out and I just started looking up. And honestly, he has no idea why I'm doing it, but I'm doing it because I just want to get out of this world, right? I don't want to be in this world. And
Literally. So
no,
you
I don't want to be in the world. And he's asking for Sir Gin and Tonic. I'm asking for black coffee because I want it in a paper cup so I don't do anything bad with this black coffee to this guy. And I start thinking, I'm like, how big is the universe?
Mm.
And why am I stuck next to this guy?
Mhm.
And it startled me because I don't know about you, like, I did okay in high school. I wasn't great or, whatever, but I just started looking up, how big is this thing that all of us are involved in? And the reason I was looking it up this way is because I'm looking at this thing that we're all involved in. And so, why does anybody on this planet, I don't care if you're Albert Einstein, why does anybody on this planet think they know everything about everything?
Yeah.
Because you're part of something, whether you believe in there's other life or not, I could care less. It's just a matter how big this thing is. And so, I didn't even know this. You might have known this, but like when I grew up, right? We had like 9 planets in our
Right.
solar system,
Right.
right? Well, that's all a lie. And it's all, by the way, I didn't even realize this. Like, we don't have 9 planets in our solar system. So I didn't even know that. We only have 8. Why? Because Pluto, which I thought was the 9th planet, is now like some ice
When
planet.
did Pluto get kicked off the
I have no
list?
idea, but they're saying there's something outside of Pluto now. So maybe we go back to 9
Yeah.
planets or whatever. I have no idea. But we only have 8. But my point is, that's in our solar system, right? We have 8 or 9 planets. Who knows? I mean, scientists are always wrong and they're proven wrong later on. But the bottom line is we've got 8 or 9 planets. So I'm thinking, wow, just in my own solar system. By the way, we haven't got to any other planet. We're not even near Mars yet, right? Like, and that, by the way, that's the closest planet, like once every 285 days or some crazy stuff. Like, we can't even get to it any other time. So we're so neophyte in this big thing called our solar system. And then when I started looking at that, because I don't know any of this stuff, I started looking at like, okay, that's a solar system. That's like we got a sun, which they call that a star. And so we have a star, which we all revolve around. God knows there's 700 different theories of how we all can. But anyway, and there's 8 planets. And I'm thinking, yep, within that star, that solar system, those 8 planets, I'm sitting next to this one jackass on this plane that won't stop talking to me. And then I'm like, well, wait a minute. What about our galaxy? Because I've always heard about the Milky Way
So you start
galaxy.
going bigger.
I'm going bigger. And I look at this thing and I'm like, the Milky Way galaxy. And do you know what a galaxy is? I didn't know
Mm-mm.
what a galaxy was.
Mm-mm.
I had no idea what a galaxy was. Do you know a galaxy holds a bunch of solar systems? So I was like, wait a minute. You're telling me there's like more than us just
Yeah.
in our
Again, in our
galaxy?
own little self-centered view.
Yeah, and so the galaxy holds a bunch of solar system, and then the universe is just like the universe. It's like everything, right? It's like this expansive thing. But what I found out alone, and this blew me away, and again, it just shows you how bad Bob's luck is. So if you see me in Vegas, don't ask me to come over to a table and help you
Mhm.
because you're going to lose all your money. Because the reality is, I looked up in the Milky Way galaxy, right? That's where our little solar system sits out of 8 or 9 planets, depending how you look at it. They're saying 8 now. I was taught 9, right? And the
And we're just
chance,
one of those solar systems.
yeah, you're in one solar system on one planet out of 8, right? So going back to my luck, right? So out of 8 planets, I happen to be on this one. Out of the entire solar system is sitting on Earth, and I happen to get on this flight with this guy, right? So when you talk about that and you look it up in our galaxy, there's right around, and I'm quoting this, I'm looking right at it, 100 billion planetary solar systems.
You're saying billion with a B
Yeah, billion.
in that one galaxy.
So in our galaxy, there's 100 solar systems like ours. The 8 planets revolve around the sun. So now my odds of sitting next to this guy's even worse, right?
Mhm.
So now I got a billion solar systems, probably more because science is usually wrong initially. And then that's just in this one galaxy. Do you have any idea how many galaxies there are?
You just kept going bigger and bigger, huh? Trying to get away
Yeah,
from this guy on the
yeah,
plane.
yeah.
So we have a billion
Solar
solar
system.
systems within one galaxy.
Yeah, ours.
And
And I'm sitting
is
next
it
to this guy.
equally
So,
big when
so
you
my
start getting
odds are just
outside
getting
of
worse and worse and worse. For this one encounter with this
Yeah.
one guy who's now on why the Pope shouldn't be the Pope.
Oh
And I'm
my
not
gosh.
Catholic, but I'm just telling you,
Yeah.
I had enough of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you have any idea how many like Milky Way galaxies there are? By the way, there are other names.
Yeah.
But,
Don't tell me it's a billion plus.
oh, it's way more.
More.
It's somewhere, and how you like this for narrowing it down for science, somewhere between 100 billion and 2 trillion,
Trillion.
2 trillion galaxies. And each galaxy's got somewhere between 100 plus billion solar systems.
And
And
this is
I'm
all
sit-
within the universe,
Right.
and
So
you're
Bob
still
could have been born anywhere,
yeah.
right? In any
Lucky
of that mess,
you.
right? And by the way, alien, not alien, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Anywhere in that mess, I could have been born, but no. I'm born and I get on this plane and I'm here for 3 hours inside of all this mess. And by the way, the point I'm trying to make is this guy thinks he knows more than anybody in this mess.
But who
that
is
I
he
just
to
described.
know everything?
How do I know? Do you know how long it takes to go across just our galaxy?
Our single galaxy, not the 100
Milky
billion.
Way, baby. That's what I'm talking about. The
How
Milky
long?
Way. 100 million light years.
Oh my
Do you
goodness.
know we don't travel at the speed of light?
I just feel smaller and smaller as this
Do you know we can't
conversation
even get
goes.
to Mars within like 2, 3, 400 days? Like, we haven't even gone back to the moon.
Mhm.
Like, so my point is, and people are gonna go, "Where the hell is he going with
That's
this?"
what I'm wondering right now.
But my point is, all these people that are telling us every night and every day, and all the media outlets and all the different pundits and in the Congress and the Senate and everywhere else that think they know everything about everything. Look, I've said this before. I've been around guys in the government, guys in the private sector that 10 out of 10 times they think they're the smartest guy in the room. Yeah, maybe you are 8 or 9 out, but not 10 out of 10. But they think just like this guy, 10 out of 10 times he thinks that. But you look at it and you go, really? How can you be that absolutely audacious and hypocritical to think you know more about anything and what that is? And by the
Mhm.
way, that has got to be bigger than anybody's even saying it because we've not even got back to the moon.
Yeah, we don't know.
I looked up a quote from Einstein and it says, "The more I learn, the more I realize how much I don't know anything."
Yeah.
This is Albert Einstein. Meanwhile, the guy next to me, no idea, right? He thinks he knows everything about everything. And to point to this is, and I started going home after I got home and I'm thinking about all this and I thought about the universe and I started Googling all this stuff and looking at it. And I just think the next time I run into a guy like that, honest to God, I'm not going to dispute anything he says. I'm going to ask him, "Do you know what a solar system is?"
That'll shut him up.
That'll shut him up because I can guarantee you most people have no idea between a solar system, a galaxy, a universe, and how much this and how long it takes. And the reason I'm going to say that is because, and by the way, I'm going to start doing this to anybody. So help me God, if I go back on national TV and somebody starts yapping to me about something,
Yeah.
I'm going to say, "Do you know what a solar system is? Does anybody in here know what a galaxy is?
Yeah.
Like, do you know how many galaxies are in our solar system or whatever it is? Because
So the research won't be lost. It
no,
will.
the research will be lost. And now, I got a weird head. This will stick with me for the rest of my life. And so I think that's how I'm going to handle know it alls from here on out because, you know, that's what that guy is. Unfortunately, all of us nowadays and all the media on us, I don't care what thing you stream to, there is somebody that's either 20 years old or 90 years old telling you everything that you wanted to know and they
All
know
day
that
long.
all day long. And so that's, I know I kind of got off pace a little bit to say, when we were talking about this, but I'm just fed up with it. I can't do it any other way. I don't, I'll never get those 3 hours back. I'll never get those 3 hours back.
But I mean, call me crazy, but isn't there kind of a beauty in knowing that, you don't know everything and to keep that curiosity alive?
I
Like to
think,
explore and
I think it's
keep
what,
discovering?
again, yeah, not even talking about aliens, although I will talk about
We
aliens.
will. We
I
will.
absolutely will talk about aliens. I will talk about Bigfoot and I'll talk about other stuff on this show
They're
because,
still getting to know
oh
you.
man, I've got opinions on all this. But, here's the thing. Everything, like, I've had this conversation with a lot of people and, I haven't been in college in a while and all that. But I'll go back to my high school education. Like, I didn't learn any of this crap. Like, everybody would say, and this is what I'm going to people that know everything, right?
Mhm.
People think they know everything. You know, I would hear on Science Channel, because I watch all these channels like Discovery, History, whatever. I watch all that stuff. There's no such thing as a giant squid. There's no such thing as, an ape that walks on 2 feet. There's no such, guess what? We just found a giant squid. Damn thing's 90 feet long. It's in Japan. They
Never
just
say
pulled it up.
never.
They just pulled it up in the fishing trawler. So all those people that said that thing don't live, wrong. You know what I mean? And that's a whole nother topic, by the way, and we can get this later. Why do you go in the water? Why does anybody go in the water?
I
You
don't
know,
know if this is a public service announcement not to sit next to Bob on the plane moving forward. If
I got
this
a
is
lot of
all
ideas in this head. And my point is, let's go back to the giant squid for a second. Everybody in science said this thing's not around. It's dead. No. And guess what they found last week? Another giant squid off of Japan. This one's longer. And by the way, it's sitting in a lab now. And now everybody goes, "Oh, yeah, I knew that squid was out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that squid was that bullshit.
Yeah.
You told us all it wasn't there." You know what I mean? And so it goes back to my point about beaches, and this no one's going to love me, but why are you going on the beach? Because
You
the point
don't
is,
know
no,
what's in there.
stay on the sand. Stay on the sand. Do not, and most water's dark and it's dirty and it doesn't look good. Yeah, so what? You go to the Bahamas or wherever where it's clear. 5 feet from where you can't see is a shark 30 feet long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We have not, this is going back to the planet thing. I'm gonna digress and go back to the planet for a little
8
bit.
planets, not 9.
Yeah, 8 planets, not 9, right? That lied. Everybody lied to me, right? And so now I looked up how much of the oceans have we explored? 5%.
Mm,
That's it, 5%.
mhm.
We 5%. People think they know everything about everything. And my point is, we don't even know what the hell's in the ocean. They found a giant squid twice.
Yeah.
That means there's more than that out there. There's other things. You Google this on YouTube. Apes can't walk on 10 feet. Bullshit. There's a bunch of apes out there that walk around on 2 feet. So my whole
Maybe
point,
Bigfoot, maybe not.
yeah, that's a whole other discussion.
Mhm.
But my point is, from here on out, and honestly, I encourage everybody to do this. You and I, everybody bumps into these guys or gals all day long. And from now on, I'm not going to say, will you please be quiet? I'm not going to say, can you move to another seat? I'm not going to say, please stop before I do something very bad. Right? Not saying I said that to the guy. But what I am saying is, I'm just going to start hitting him with the universe. I'm going to
Mhm.
start hitting him with the giant squid stuff.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you, within about 30 seconds, they're not going to want to talk to me
I
anymore.
guarantee it too. The ocean is where I feel the smallest. I haven't had the universe experience, but you've taken me on this journey, so thank you
There's
so
no
much.
everybody, there's all these people trying to, and this isn't, there's all these people trying to invent like how do anti-shark suits and shark kit. You want to know how you stop all that shit? Don't go in the water.
Stay on the
Just
side.
stay in the sand. When I was a young kid, I saw Jaws. You know what I mean? People probably don't remember this when it first came out, but I was a little kid in the theater and my father scared the living hell out of me. My point is, don't go in the water. There's stuff in the water that we have no idea about. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
even I've seen those whales jump up into the sand
I
these
mean,
days.
orcas will come right
Yeah.
up on the. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a whole other thing. We could have a whole show on orcas.
But let's stick to the universe
Yeah,
today.
let's stick to the universe and stick to the guy on the plane. So I'm sure this guy's going to bump into this YouTube. Yes, it's you. I'm talking about you on the plane. So look, I don't know if anybody liked this or not. I liked it because it got a lot off my chest. So thanks for tuning back into the podcast. Stay tuned. There's a lot more coming at you. Peace. Everybody love each other. We need it. Thanks.